Your company has spent $2 million on cybersecurity this year. Firewalls, endpoint detection software, multi-factor authentication, a security team monitoring alerts around the clock. Your CISO told the board everything is protected. Now a small group of hired hackers has been given one job. Prove that wrong.
Let's see if this bypass works now.
They will not be handed a list of systems to test. They will not tell the security team they are coming. They will do exactly what a real attacker would do, for as long as it takes, until they reach your most sensitive data, or until someone catches them. Most of the time, nobody does. This is not a hypothetical. Scenarios exactly like it play out every week at companies that pay skilled ethical hackers to attack them under controlled conditions. The exercise is called a red team engagement, and it is one of the most important and most misunderstood concepts in cybersecurity. The term comes from Cold War military strategy. The United States military staged war games where one group, the red team, would simulate the enemy, and another group, the blue team, would defend. The goal was not to win the simulation. The goal was to find out what the defense was missing before a real enemy found the same thing. That logic moved into cybersecurity in the 1990s. In 1997, the U.S. Department of Defense ran an internal exercise called Operation Eligible Receiver. A group of NSA operatives were given only commercially available software and internet access and told to penetrate Department of Defense networks. The blue team, the people responsible for defending those networks, had no idea the exercise was happening. The red team got in, repeatedly, into systems that were considered secure. The exercise was classified for years afterward, and it changed how the U.S. military thought about digital defense. Today, red teaming is standard practice at banks, technology companies, government agencies, and any organization that needs to know whether its security controls hold up under real-world conditions. The most important distinction in this topic is the difference between red teaming and a penetration test. People use the terms interchangeably. That is a mistake, and it leads organizations to believe they have tested their defenses when they have only done part of the job. A penetration test is scoped and time-limited. A company says, test these specific systems during these 2 weeks and find every vulnerability you can. The security team usually knows a pentest is happening. The testers move fast, make some noise, and produce a report listing every weakness they found. The goal is coverage. The goal is a complete inventory of exploitable flaws. A red team engagement is different in almost every way. The scope is broad, sometimes the entire organization. The time frame is longer, typically weeks to months. The security team does not know it is happening, and the red team is not trying to find every vulnerability. They are trying to achieve one specific objective without triggering a single alert. That objective might be access the payroll database, read the CEO's email, demonstrate that an attacker can exfiltrate 10,000 customer records. The red team's not measuring how many vulnerabilities exist. They are measuring whether the organization can detect and stop a real, patient, skilled attacker pursuing a real goal. A clean penetration test report tells you what is broken. A red team engagement tells you whether your security team can actually catch someone who knows what they are doing. Those are two very different answers. In practice, a red team engagement follows the same phases a real attacker uses. It starts before anyone touches a keyboard. Phase 1 is reconnaissance. The red team studies the target using only publicly available information. They look at the company website, LinkedIn profiles of employees, job postings that reveal which software the company runs, domain registration records, certificates, and data from previous breaches. One of the most useful sources is job listings. A posting that says, "Must have experience with CrowdStrike Falcon and Azure Sentinel," tells an attacker exactly which security tools are in use, and therefore, what those tools are likely to miss. They are building a map, and they have not done anything illegal or even unusual yet. Phase 2 is initial access. This is where they try to get a foothold inside the network. The most common method is phishing, a carefully crafted email designed to get an employee to click a link or open a file. But it might also be exploiting a vulnerability in an internet-facing application, calling the IT help desk, and social engineering a password reset, or in full-scope engagements. Walking through the front door. Physical access is part of red teaming, and it surprises people every time. A complete red team does not stop at the network boundary. They test whether someone could walk into the building by tailgating behind a legitimate employee through a secured door. They test whether reception staff would challenge an unfamiliar face. They test whether a person could sit at an unlocked workstation in a meeting room and plug in a small device that establishes a backdoor. They test whether they could clone an RFID access badge by briefly holding a hidden reader near someone in a corridor. These scenarios sound implausible until you see the results. A company might have outstanding technical controls and almost no physical controls. The best firewall in the world does not stop someone who physically sits down at a computer inside your network. In one well-documented engagement, a red team gained full domain administrator access to a financial institution's network by entering the building dressed as fire safety inspectors, accessing a server room during a fire drill, and connecting a small device to the network in under 3 minutes. The technical team had no indication anything had happened for 11 days. Phase 3 is persistence. Once the red team is inside, they establish a foothold that will survive a reboot, a password change, or a routine security scan. They install a backdoor, a way to maintain access quietly. They keep it small. They keep it quiet. They wait. Phase 4 is lateral movement. From the initial foothold, they start moving through the network. A low-privilege account on one machine becomes a stepping stone to a more sensitive server. That server holds credentials cached in memory. Those credentials unlock a file share. That file share contains a configuration file with a service account password. That service account has access to a domain controller. Step by step, the access expands. In most organizations, the average time for a skilled red team to move from initial phishing email to full domain control is measured in hours. Not days, hours. Phase 5 is achieving the objective. The red team reaches whatever they were sent to reach, collects the evidence that proves they were there, and documents every step they took to get there. The tools red teams use are the same ones real attackers use. That is deliberate. Testing against real-world tools produces real-world results. Cobalt Strike is one of the most widely used command and control frameworks in both legitimate red teaming and actual cybercrime. It allows a red team to communicate with compromised machines, run commands, and move through a network while generating traffic that blends in with normal business activity. Open source alternatives like Sliver and Havoc serve the same purpose and are often used specifically to avoid detection signatures built around Cobalt Strike. Mimikatz is a credential dumping tool. Once a red teamer has access to a Windows machine with the right level of privilege, Mimikatz can extract usernames and passwords that Windows has cached in memory. Those credentials frequently open the rest of the network. Bloodhound maps Active Directory, the system Windows uses to manage users, computers, and permissions across an organization. It shows the red team which accounts have which permissions, and it traces the shortest path from any compromised account to full domain control. What once took days of manual analysis can now be visualized in under a minute. None of these tools are secret. They are publicly available. Real attackers use them. The question a red team is designed to answer is whether the organization's monitoring can detect these tools when they run. When the engagement ends or when the red team achieves their objective, both sides meet. This debrief phase is sometimes called a purple team exercise. Red meets blue. The red team walks through everything they did, step by step. The first reconnaissance, the phishing email that worked, the help desk call that bypassed a security control, the exact path of lateral movement through the network. Every point where a detection should have triggered and did not. The blue team sees their own blind spots in real time. The final report is the most valuable output. It does not say, "We got in." It says, "Here is the specific phishing template that bypassed your email filters. Here is the account that was compromised. Here is every hop of the lateral movement path. Here are the credentials that were extracted. Here is the data we accessed. And here are the 14 moments where your security operations team had the opportunity to detect us and did not." That report is a roadmap for exactly where to improve. Not vulnerabilities in isolation. Gaps in the entire chain from initial attack to objective achieved. A vulnerability scan tells you what is broken. A penetration test tells you what can be exploited. A red team tells you whether your security operations team can detect and respond to a real attacker before damage is done. Most organizations only answered the first two questions. The gap is significant. A company can patch every finding from its annual penetration test, pass every compliance audit, and still be completely unprepared for an attacker who enters through a phishing email, moves slowly and quietly for 3 weeks, and exits with everything they came for. Scattered Spider, the group we covered in a recent Sci-Flix video, did exactly this to Transport for London. No 0 days. No sophisticated exploits. Social engineering and patience sustained until the objective was reached. The Penist did not catch that scenario because it was not designed to test for it. Some industries now require adversarial testing by regulation. The Tiber EU framework, which applies to financial institutions across Europe, mandates threat intelligence-based red team exercises that simulate real threat actors. The Bank of England operates a similar framework called CBEST. These requirements exist because regulators have accepted that compliance testing and genuine resilience are not the same thing. Red teaming is not where you start. It is where you arrive. Most red team practitioners begin with penetration testing. They learn how vulnerabilities work in a structured environment, how to enumerate networks, how to exploit common misconfigurations. Many hold the OSCP, the Offensive Security Certified Professional, which requires completing a timed practical exam against a series of live machines with no multiple choice answers. It is one of the most respected entry certifications in offensive security for a reason. From there, red teamers move into adversary simulation. The CRTO, Certified Red Team Operator, focuses specifically on operating within an enterprise environment using tools like Cobalt Strike. The CRTE covers Active Directory attacks. These certifications are not theoretical. They require demonstrating actual capability in lab environments built to mirror real corporate networks. Platforms like Hack the Box and TryHackMe are where most red teamers build their skills before earning those certifications. CTF competitions, Capture the Flag challenges, where you break into intentionally vulnerable systems to find hidden flags, are how people in this field practice constantly. The career pays well. A senior red team operator at a security consulting firm or in-house at a major bank earns significantly above average for the security industry. The supply of people who can conduct a full adversary simulation at a professional level is genuinely smaller than the demand. That gap is not closing quickly. If you are responsible for security at a business, ask when your organization last commissioned a full red team engagement. A penetration test every 12 months checks the right boxes on a compliance form. It does not tell you whether your security team would catch a real attacker who operates slowly, quietly, and over a period of weeks. A red team does. If you are learning, study the fundamentals first. Networking, Linux, how Windows Active Directory works, how common vulnerabilities like SQL injection and misconfigurations are exploited. That foundation leads to penetration testing, which leads to adversary simulation, which leads to red teaming. If you are someone who wants to understand how the digital world actually works, hit subscribe. We cover the tools, the techniques, and the real-world attacks every week. The firewalls are up. The security team is watching their screens, and somewhere on the network, a red team hired 3 weeks ago is sitting quietly on a domain controller, collecting the evidence they need, waiting to see if anyone notices. Most of the time, no one does. Cyflix. Digital mysteries. Real stories.